you have scaled a couple of organizations as well, right? From double digits to almost triple digits.
He was able to find their interest levels, and he was able to invest times towards the speed as well as the quality. So that's how you
select TA.
Yeah, I'm a person who likes to be a people champion, right? So that's how
Hello, everyone. Welcome to I'm a Recruiter podcast. I'm your host, Prasula Deuri, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. I'm a Recruiter is more than just a podcast. It is a movement by and for talent acquisition professionals, and we are here to shake things up. Our vision is to create a seamless network of recruiters from classroom to boardroom. Our mission is to create a collaborative platform that connects and empowers any TA professionals providing end-to-end support across talent acquisition landscape. If you are getting value out of our content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share, and also let us know what you think in the comment section. Let us bring the community together. So with this, I would love to welcome our guest. So we are really thrilled to have Vanathi Tangavel on today's episode of I'm a Recruiter podcast. With 12 plus years of experience in talent acquisition and strategy, Vanathi has played a pivotal role in scaling high-performing teams. Currently, she's a senior manager talent acquisition at Dr. Agarwal Eye Hospital, where she focuses on hiring top medical talent. So prior to this, she spent 8 plus years at Apex UX Inc., a leading cybersecurity product company, where she built a tech team from 70 to 300 plus, tackling some of the industry's most complex hiring challenges. So Vanathi is a people champion with expertise in talent acquisition, employer branding, and end-to-end product hiring, both in tech and GTM. She is passionate about creating impactful hiring strategy and shaping employer brands that attract the best talent. Beyond work, she keeps herself energized by Zumba and swimming and studies her time with her kids. So you can connect with Vanathi on LinkedIn. So she is available in LinkedIn. So with this, I would love to welcome you, Vanathi. Really excited to hear about your journey, your challenges, what you have faced, and definitely I believe that lots of our guests or audience love the session as well, and lots of takeaways they can take from our episode. So once again, thank you so much for your time. In spite of your busy schedule, you have given us the time for this podcast. So thank you so much.
I'm excited about this podcast, Praful. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm looking forward for more interesting conversation.
Awesome.
Right. So I basically figured out, after my completing my UG, in computers, I felt I'm a person more of a networking and a people champion. So I thought recruitment would be the right platform, which has a combination of both, people championing and, to strategize and work along with the business goals. So that's how I chosen to be as a recruiter. I'm enjoying along with my passionate goals to fulfill through recruitment and understanding business.
Awesome. Awesome. So you are basically from which part of India, Vanathi?
Okay. So I'm a native of Coimbatore.
Okay.
Yeah, from Tamil Nadu. So I did all my studies in Coimbatore. Never been outside. Only for the work reason, I just came outside and started, in Chennai for the last 5 years. I'm living in Chennai.
Okay. Okay. And how far is Coimbatore from Chennai? Because I have been to Chennai, but I never got chance to go to Coimbatore.
It's
So
8 to 10 hours of journey, like 560 kilometers from
okay.
Chennai to Coimbatore.
And what is very popular in Coimbatore?
Coimbatore, of course, you guys, it's called as a Manchester of India. You have a lot of engineering scope, core engineering scope industries place. And now recently it's been spoken for as Isha Yoga, Adiyogi, places. And of course, someone wants to touch tea, they have to visit Coimbatore. And of course, the people are very, what to say, we have our own slang for Coimbatore and Tamil, right? They are very kind of a down to earth and the colloquial Tamil is very respectful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that from you, Vanathi. I can feel the vibe.
Thank you.
So let's say if I would, as a tourist, if I need to travel there, like any good place for food and other things. So what is popular there in terms of food and all?
So in Coimbatore, Pollachi is one of the destinations that you can visit. It has good farmhouse, resorts there. And of course, you get a fresh coconut, where you cannot taste that. It's totally different, from what you get from the outlets here. right? It's entirely different. The taste will be different. And you can visit places like Junior Cook for the non-veg, non-vegetarians, right? You get good recipes of non-vegetarian Kogu style makes like Junior Cook, and we have Madambati outlets in Coimbatore. So you get, if you're a core non-vegetarian, and you can lose. And if you're a vegetarian, please try Annapurna Sambar and coffee.
I would prefer the first two options because I'm a hardcore non-vegetarian.
But
I
still,
will
you
I
can
will
miss
pass
Annapurna for your breakfast. It is really good. Like you cannot taste that sambar anywhere.
good when she go to Tamil Nadu or Chennai, right? So she feel that side the sambar is much better than Karnataka or Bangalore sambars, what she feel, right? So
Right.
so if you are also suggesting the same, probably next time whenever I visit, probably I will try them for sure.
Sure. You're talking about Chennai or Coimbatore?
Chennai side we have visited, so probably we'll go to Coimbatore and taste that as well.
Right. Yeah. Somewhere across Tamil Nadu, it's all the same. Maybe Chennai is more hotter. Yeah. Humid as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, in our previous discussion, right, when we spoke, you also mentioned it. You have scaled a couple of organizations as well, right?
Right.
From double digits to almost triple digits. I saw the company
UX.
name EveryUX. EveryUX. You built the whole tech team from 70 to 300 for a highly complex product.
Right.
What are some of the biggest challenges you have faced in scaling those kind of team? And what was your strategy there? Because definitely it's not an easy job finding a good talent and scaling up the team. So how did you do that?
So some of the challenges definitely it's not an easy number to achieve. Like it was a long term goal. I would say we was aggressively expanding, and we was not compromising on quality first thing. And the business wanted delivery like as early as possible. Everything was yesterday's recruitment. Always like when it comes to business, we want it by yesterday. That's what we say. So the major challenge we had is like the niche talent, right? Like niche level talent, and the cultural alignment what we have to do, right? And also like intense competition. So when we was hiring like back in 2021, 2022, post COVID, right? So everything like was put up, right? Like the market was crazy and it was like competing like anything. Even the junior folks, like they were ready to pay so much of high. So we had this kind of challenges like competition, niche talent, and also like cultural. And so in this kind of huge numbers, aligning culture is also really important. So you will not backfire your current system, right? You build up kind of a healthier environment. So that is also your responsible. So we came up through a strong pipelining activity as well as like employer branding activity, which helped us a lot to identify the top talents. And also like even if we have a hemorrhage or like a sudden drop, like we always back it up with a pipeline, good set of pipeline. So that really worked for us to flip the numbers, maintain that quality as well as like impose speed with the steadiness. So that really helped us like a strong employer branding. So employer branding, like we did it across all the platforms, and we also brought in like a lot of events. Like being hiring someone for Coimbatore is really a challenge. Being a tier two city, that too, now it got developed. So earlier it was like getting developed. So we actually brought new kind of events conducting in the cybersecurity field. We invited a lot of subject matter experts to our events. We targeted the competitor profiles, and we invited them as not for the opportunity, but we invited for the events to share our casual meet. So that's how, like, we was able to identify the cultural fit. Like, once they here with us for a casual event, we was able to identify them like culturally also, technically also, like what they are, what they are really are and they are interested or not. Like we was able to find their interest levels, and we was able to invest times towards the speed as well as the quality. So that's how, like, we made it possible. Strong pipelining and the by branding activity.
Yes, yes, yes. So definitely, I would agree. Like if you're from tier two or a very new startup kind of environment, definitely you should focus on employer branding for sure, right?
Yeah.
Because I can relate the same with you when I was working with Credit Point, which is now acquired by Ericsson. So even when they entered India market, there was not much of people knowing about that particular brand. So as a TA person, I was responsible to get those awareness with different activities, like same like you, right? Lots of initiatives in terms of engaging social media platforms and other things as well. Because if people don't know, they will not apply. Once they know the brand, we build the trust. So parallelly, we also try to do the campus sharing program as well. So because of that, lots of events plus campus sharing, we got visibility.
Exactly, exactly. And we also reduced the transactional work of the recruiters by introducing an ATS. So that helped a lot to move faster. That also the implementation part it was a huge experience for me for the last 4 years. Right, was really great journey for me altogether. So that actually made us move faster. Along with it strengthened us more to achieve those numbers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and can you also tell, in terms of a new organization or a tier two organization, right? What are the different platforms you use to hire people in Coimbatore, right? And did you get good talent in those platform job portals like Naukri or LinkedIn in Coimbatore?
In Coimbatore, in specific, it doesn't stick to the geography basically. Coimbatore, of course, we have a vast number of groups, right? What we thought differently is we have something called meetup.com, right? So we actually started running there, making the events more structured using meetup.com.
Okay.
We had tie-ups with user groups like AWS, Google Developer Group. So we started building a tie-up with them. So we bought subject matter expert from there. So obviously, there is an event which is happening for Amazon, along with UX. So people started to know, once they come, oh, there is a company for cybersecurity in Coimbatore. I'm really surprised. Right. So that's how we made it happen. We had more of a structured approach instead going on, flashing something uh, in a different place, flash it in a right platform to right audience. So that was a strategy. So it helped us a lot.
Okay. So Meetup.com is definitely something interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more, like what exactly you did in Meetup.com?
That coming in.
What exactly you people did using Meetup.com?
So Meetup, what we do is we plan an event, right? We flash it at meetup.com. So meetup.com has a different level of communities, different people. You can target your audience and you can send the mailers and it will be as a poster in meetup.com. So meetup.com, someone types cybersecurity, right? So first, the group of people who likes meetup.com, who likes cybersecurity, automatically the recommendation, meetup.com would give a recommendation to those people who are the audience of cybersecurity, who likes the cybersecurity grouping.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. Okay, great. We
Not only cybersecurity, a lot of technology involved, right? Like you have AWS, you have DevOps, you have people who like Java, who's to be working on SaaS platform, right? So those groupings helped us to, reach the right audience. So it's a long investment, definitely, meetup.com. You cannot expect a short-term ROI with it, but people, it's a word of mouth. Like they even someone like junior who comes in, who says to a senior, right? There is something cybersecurity company here in Coimbatore. You're surprised. Why don't you apply there? Right? It helped us a lot.
yes, yes, agree, agree. So you have mentioned in our past discussion that you have done your graduation. Then just wanted to know, were you sure at the time that you wanted to enter into recruitment or HR domain itself from your education days itself? Did you had those kind of awareness? What is HR? What is recruitment during your education days?
Correct me if I'm wrong. So you're asking TA between TA and HR, which one? Why did you choose TA? Something like that. Trying to ask me.
Yeah, my question is so you did your graduation, right? So how did you select TA? And during the education time, many of us didn't have the awareness that there is something called recruitment or talent acquisition in HR. So how did you got to know about HR or recruitment in general?
Yeah. So basically, in my third year, right, final year of my undergraduation, I got into thesis, right? I got into thesis in the sense I got campus, right, college or campus. So I got selected in the second round of interview, but I couldn't make it to the final level of tech interview. And that's where, I made it these people, they discuss salary. Some of the selected friends, they went on a discussion, of late on the salary. So that's why, I decided, I think tech, these people look super power and they are in the juggling around, connecting with people, a lot of, connections happening, networking happening, right? So basically, I'm a person who likes to be a people champion, right? So that's how, TA was, I think, somewhere in time, the TCS experience sold me a seed inside. And that's how, the journey started. Right.
What key skills or mindset generally people should have to become a successful recruiter in today's world?
Okay. So for me, right, like as a recruiter, right, for any individual, right, like to be successful, right, we should be in an open mindset, like that every experience teaches us, right? It's never say no to grow and never it is late to grow, right? And when it comes to any specific to recruiters, only the someone who actually can play a advocacy role, right? And also like who's got the right resilience, right? And also like someone who can be a trustable partners to your stakeholders, right? That actually takes you to the success.
Yes.
Not only stakeholders, building relationship trust between the candidate as well as to the stakeholders, it actually helps it to be more successful. So as you know, Rifla, like I last 6 months, like I moved to a new organization, entirely different. It's a high risk what I've done 12 years. So I never fear for a change, right? So like I started. I thought through like I actually wanted to take a break for 3 months, then look for a new change, get into ID again. That was my plan. And I took a break from UX. But then like this opportunity came, and they said like you wanted to hire doctors. I said like okay, it sounds different. Yeah, why don't I try? Like they're also professionals. Like you going to do only doctors hiring. So I thought that too for a hospital chain which is drastically growing across India. So I thought, like, why don't I try? Like, why don't use my 12th biology here? So that was my, definitely something is going to help me, right? That's
Yes.
what I thought through. And I took that risk. So I never fear for a change. So that mindset people should have, especially being in a talent acquisition. You should start building relationship, have the trust, whomever you network, right? As many podcasts, many LinkedIn helping videos says, please don't leave the black hole to the candidates. Please close the loop. That actually makes you to be successful. Even now, like being 6 months, like close to 8 months, I left the organization from AppUX. I still get a call. I still get a LinkedIn request, uh, you know, for seeking for an opportunity in AppUX. So I still direct it to my colleagues in AppUX. So that is the kind of the relationship I build with candidates. And even like when I start my career here, like I'm calling my engineering head, product head, and I'm saying that like I'm joining this, and I'm telling him that like this is a change that I'm gonna look into. I thought like why don't I enjoy doing this? He said, yeah, it's a right call. It's a big risk, but it's the right call at the right time. So that's the kind of building relationship I have with the stakeholders as well as with the candidate.
So, any tips in building a good relationship with any of your stakeholder? Tips to build a good relationship, because not everyone is comfortable building relationship, right? So,
Right,
what is your number one formula
right,
which you use to build a relationship?
right. So building relationship is not about saying only yes, right? It's not about saying only yes. So you should know when you should say no to your stakeholder with the proper data-driven approach, right? So you have the right data. This is the exhaustive list that I've done for this particular, requirement. Why don't we try going back to the solution? Is really important, right? And how situationally you help your stakeholder is really important, right? It's not about like only the accountability in filling positions. It's about like accountability, like how you complete that entire cycle of business to them. How you're being helpful. How do you think long term you're gonna help your stakeholders? Is the actual trust that you're gonna build with stakeholders. So definitely that will be the key factor, like where your stakeholders start trusting you. Okay, so this is given. So this is something like being exhausted and like this is a solution that we can work around. Why don't I try? Right. So that's the thing, like made me through this journey where I have to say yes. I do say yes. Where I say no, I do say no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So people should
Because
um learn to say no whenever it is.
I totally agree, because not everyone has the expertise to say no, and that's one of me as well. So most of the time I say yes, even though I know sometimes it's not required to say yes, right? So definitely I'm learning those things, but since I'm talking in a podcast, I want it to be a real candid, so I'm telling the truth, right? Okay,
So
moving to
it's
the next.
actually a fine line. Sometimes my CEO, right, like, calls me that he plays a CTO role as well. right? He suddenly calls me, Vanathi, I need, next 20 days, I need 10 Java developers who have to be onboarded. 20 days, 10 Java developers to be onboarded. That too, we compete with companies like PayPal, that kind of the quality that we look forward. PayPal, Amazon, the ThoughtWorks guys, those are the guys, we actually target on, right? So that kind of the quality we expect. But we need like 10 developers, like, hey, yes, I'll be able to do it. Then I go back, circle back to the product engineering head, and I say, Karthik, like, this is the thing, I've got, so what we can do about it. Yeah. So go with this thing. Let's catch up with Anand and let's see like what practically is possible, and let's commit the numbers together. So that's how the formula works.
That's again proof that you have a good uh, relationship building with your head of engineering as well, right?
Right.
So the next question which I have for you is like throughout 12 years you have been hiring Java. Were you tired of hiring Java? So you thought of hiring doctors now? You were done with the engineers and the software developers. Now let's move to the medical side.
It's actually a tricky question. I know I'm not actually tired of hiring Java. Yes, of course, technology itself has its own transition. It has a lot of things came in, like, even after the 6 months, I'm not sure, like, what's the market now. Definitely, there should be new updates in Java, SAS, the new upcoming rules as well, right? So definitely I didn't get bored, but I thought, it will be a different level of experience and having professionals into a leadership role, more than filling gaps. I thought, like, let's move more into strategizing and you know identification of doctors is very interesting. If we don't use any kind of a Wiki or LinkedIn kind of a platforms, that is like maybe like 10-15% around. Rest of the things, it's really it works out only through mapping, intense mapping, and data calling, right? That's how it happens. It's really interesting. Identification itself, it's really a very tough task here, and handling them, wisely, it's really, it's very kind of a different ballgame altogether. Comes to an IT professional and young folks towards technology, more towards the business things. So here it's more towards, of course, like, we hire young doctors, but they have already completed 5 years MBBS and another 2 years of PG. Like, almost like I'm handling 7 years experience in person in each level of, and if they are working, if they have the work experience, is almost like 10 plus years, like, who I'm going to handle. So that is entirely different. You have to handle it in a very proper way. Every resource is kind of a high risk. You have to talk in a language like how they are turned, right? That is really important in the hiring. It's actually an interesting journey. I'm still learning in the 6 months. I think, like, almost like 20% we've been learning. It's still a lot to learn around across doctors.
So probably we can invite you for a master class sometime in I am a recruiter community to teach all the recruiters how to hire a doctor.
Definitely.
Okay. So again, like while you were talking about that particular situation, I was trying to connect with one of the situation when in a marriage time, right? Marriage during the marriage,
Yeah.
the groom people come to the bride side with for the pujas and rituals and all, and we have to respect them, talk to them very nicely, politely, and all those things, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
I was thinking that you might be in the same situation at the time when you were talking to your doctors.
Yeah.
You have to treat them so well, handle with care, and all those things.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
we have to check it off, like, salary discussions. Of course, like, you have to play a proper negotiator, and you have to check it off, like, whenever, like, no, this isn't possible. Even to the expertise surgeons, we have to say no. That is one of the the most challenging part, to make them understand, like, this is the business, this is what we need, and we'll not be able to run through this, right? That is one of the toughest part. Identification and allocation, right? Like, allocating them to negotiation is entirely a different game here.
Do you now feel that that software side is much easy compared to this?
Not at all. Every field has its own challenges, and they're not, savvy people, right? Like, they will not socialize like how the other tech folks are, right? So it's really difficult to break that shell and get inside to know them, like how they are culturally fit, how they are technically, I mean, mentally, like, what are their expertise. To understand that, it's a kind of I think I will made a decision very clearly and concisely that, like, I'm going to unlearn things and learn new things. So with that mindset, I'm able to go through this.
Trying to
Right.
learn everything from scratch.
Right.
So good job, Vanathi. Okay, moving to the next question. So you also mentioned that you are currently working as a senior manager talent acquisition, right? And many of the individual contributor aspire to become a manager.
Right.
So can you also give some example? What kind of challenges generally the managers face, which the individual contributor doesn't get the opportunity to see? That's number one question.
Right.
Number two question is how can someone become a manager from an individual contributor? What are certain qualities required?
Vice versa. Manager to
Yeah.
individual contributor.
No, not vice versa. From individual contributor to manager only. But
Got
what
it.
are the skills required? First thing is, what are the different challenges manager face, which the individual contributor doesn't understand or don't know about?
Getting your
Because
point.
everyone think manager is a wow job. They don't understand the challenges, right?
Right. So mine is definitely a big shift from a lead to a manager and to a senior manager, right? So this is proper manager role, which I've taken it. So earlier, like I had my individual contribution in RPOX, being a tech-based person, right? Like 8 years tech-based, I understand the business well. I understand the technology, I understand the product. Being an individual contributor is like, was a cakewalk for me. And it was a kind of an easy thing. So when I go to respond to a manager talent acquisition, of course, there was a lot of struggles, right? From handling your team, right? That is, especially handling senior recruiters, not all a job to handle. So I learned from mistakes. Of course, like there will be you will mistakes. You will handle or route through your team members in a wrong direction. It will we may fail, but failure is the experience where you learn. Say right in my presentation, right? Like even I had like when I'm in my CHRO was here in India, she's in US basically. Every year she comes here with the review, and we all used to present the deck, right? The first time, obviously, like right, like one day because here and now it's I was present my content, right? Like I made all the colorful, beautiful slides, everything it's done. I did my own preparation, all the mock setup has been done. But I couldn't deliver whatever like I wanted. Like so it was my first experience on presenting the data to my CHR. So of course like nothing like went on. And later like my leader was really supportive, took a call and said like what you're like your leaders. It's already there, like you are the one like that why don't you present it? What's the thing? Like question comes like let's answer it. Like you're not able to answer the phone. Tell her that, like, we want to work it out and do it, right? So, right from the presentations, I had to, appear and things. And later, like, I went in multiple presentation workshops to get out of it. And that's like, it made me stronger, more it communicate in a presentation, like how, we can present ourselves in that. Also, like when it comes to presenting data, also there is a lot to learn. Each corporate has a different kind of expectation on how you present the data. So, which is I'm learning. It's entirely different from US based organization to completely India based organization and how they interact it, right? So that is entirely different. So that is also like what we're learning on going here in my big step. So, like who are entering into kind of a leadership role, get prepared yourself, right? Like you learn from lessons. There are a lot of workshops available for the presentations as well as like the hot talks. So I get prepared myself like before going on to the presentation, like how this data can be presented well and how it can be. We have to think in the leaders' shoes, like how they want the data. What are the questions that we can expect and how we can answer, right? Like it's complete teamwork that we used to do it. And when it comes to team handling, like I started picking up things when it comes to the recruiters under me. I basically get along with them. I understand the roots. I don't see it in the top level. I understand the roots, like, of each recruiter, what is their strength, and I play it around their strength. So that's what I do. Even in my current team, I'm doing it that way. So one will do employer branding correctly, right? Like, that's a piece of the cake for them to excel well. One will do like, the communication part, right? That's how I identify the strengths of my team member and lead them. So that helps me to be successful as a team, as a leader. Not only fulfilling the positions, also like, playing a strategic role, taking care of your team members, taking them, lifting them as you grow.
Yes, yes. So, how do you identify the strength of your team members? Because many people get a designation as a manager, but still not everyone has the potential or capability to understand the mindset or the strength of the team members of theirs. So how do you do that?
Understanding team members' strength. So basically, I work with the team, along with the team, right? Like you cannot understand their strengths until like you work with them. Only if you work along with them, like only if you travel, or take the journey along with you, you will know their strengths. Unless you will not be able to identify your members' strengths. And giving up the appreciations, right? Recognition is really important. So you will know like when there is a recognition, like where they're doing it well, and understanding their background well, like what kind of background they come from. For example, now like I have a 6 member team under me, and each one has like most on their own strengths. For example, like one person, like she's good in this creatives, right? So I was forward to more on a campaigning side, right? Like she will help us. She would work around with. She likes to enjoy working with the marketing team, getting that flyers done, getting the creatives done, getting that plastered in a WhatsApp campaign. So she loves doing it. So I've given that entire part, piece of work to her and ownership to her. So giving an accountability also gives an individual to own that process and get the best out of them. So I generally give that accountability to each person identifying their strengths. That's also when I start working with her, like somehow I understand, I feel like, she's good at that. Like, she said, like, I'm working, I know Canva. That's how I identified and started giving her that. And she likes to host things. So we started like, for the events, like we started, her to use that hosting capability. So they're always like, they can get into the limelight of, it's all about the teamwork, and the person who's owns it, like it's the limelight of it and recognized across the management also. So I ensure that like, team is also under my the limelight, which I can see.
So you also mentioned that like you have a good team, right? You have almost 6 team. Managing team is definitely one of the toughest thing, what I believe, right? And the two, when we become a manager, we realize that particular thing. Earlier, when we were IC, we were enjoying our own work and going back to home and
Right,
all, right?
right,
So now when we're manager, we know okay, we have to deliver the task, deliver the work, plus we have to also keep our team motivated and
right,
to get the things done,
right,
right? So the question which I have for you is like in this busy schedule as well, you also mentioned that you love Zumba, you love dancing, you love spending time with your friends, oh sorry, kids,
yes,
right? So how do you balance your time between your work as well as your life,
right.
work-life balance?
Got it. So the balancing, of course, it's not even, should say, not the 2 kids. I actually manage 3, 4, 5, 6 kids actually at home. So as you grow, right, like you reach like 35 to 40 plus, right? So your parents also keep growing, right? They become older, and being a female, you get the responsibility of mother-in-law, father-in-laws also, right? So at my home, and as you grow, as Intanu said, like as men grow, they become another kid to women, especially the most pampered sons and husbands, right? So that's all. Like I'm handling 6 kids at home, right? Like my mom, dad, like they're with me to support me. So they're one of the pillar of support, like who I am now here, and of course my 2 boys and my husband and my mother-in-law. So it's about like totally, it's about balancing. I actually balance it very well. Not taking like if there is siblings, like I do not take it as a political thing inside the family. I not convey cross each other. So I better leave it in their way. If my mom wants to take over the kitchen, I leave it to her. If she wants to take over the kids, I leave it to her. So whenever she feels like no, I can't do it, I step in and I help her and I help my. So that's how it's well. Sometimes like even if she's doing like if I go inside, like she doesn't accepts that, right? Like why I'm here, right? So that's how I balance it. Like when she needs, like I step in. When she doesn't need, I step back. So it's very simple balancing that we have to do. And of course, like health is really important. It's high time that we invest at least 1 to 1.5 hours on every individual gets better in either way. Like, basically, things like I take 1 hour, like kind of a walk, or like a chat with my community. By walk itself, I chat with my community. It's like a lot of women I have friends from Cognizant, from different kind of work setups. So all the working women, so housewives also. So we get together, we discuss different kind of challenges like in family or in office, right? If I'm getting into talking to a politics like in office, like, hey, what do you see all these things? Like, why you want to worry? Throw it out, trash away, take it off. It is what like they're all like an experience, and they come from a different kind of a setup, and they would have crossed all those things. So when they say that, like, if I get like, yeah, it's right, like, why am I too bothered about it? Like, why I'm taking this home, right? So that is the thing, like, really you wanted to invest. Like, you have to find your stress relieving factor, like, where you enjoy yourself, where you can be yourself, that way your office hours. So Zumba is also one other thing like I follow, keep myself flexible, not only for the fitness side, somehow engage myself into that one activity, forgetting everything. And swimming also, uh, it's something like, when you get inside the water, like you forget everything. It's only for your, you can manage only if you have the focus altogether. Otherwise, like, if you lose the breath, you will start, suffocating inside. So that keeps us, really focused. So that's why, like, I enjoy doing both. And being with my kids, it's the most, adorable time that I take it. I ensure that, like, I'm being there for my kids in the evenings, and also, like, I do follow them over the call, like, once they reach home, like whether they started learning, or what is their day, like how was their day. I generally don't ask how was their day, like it's a boring question to them. So I wait for them, I listen to them. That's the most important thing. I listen to them. I listen to them more.
So I have a 2-year-old kid, right? So he have just started going to his play school.
Right.
So he just started talking. So any advice for a new parent like me?
Then I initially, right, like I had a kind of fear, like especially the second kid, like when I put him to, kindergarten and followed by a daycare because my mom was not around. I didn't have a support, real support at home, manage things. So I put him over daycare to manage my work and get him back from the school at the time, like, and I did my work, right? So it was really like, it was a guiltiest moment. But I would never say like, it was a wrong kind of a decision. So you feel a place just safe for your kid as a proper discipline and proper, equipped place. If you feel your kids are in a proper place in the school setup, I think you can leave it. They actually get groomed well. I think that was the right decision what I did because my son like had every problems, right from the eating habits to sleeping patterns. So when I put him there, like even in the daycare, like he was perfectly all right. He was, in fact, like he set up a pattern on the sleeping and eating habits, and he picked up really well. So I think kids will not ask you, mom, why did you leave me in daycare? Definitely, they're gonna not ask you. They will understand, especially kids who are coming in this recent years. They are really smart enough. Even I would measure my eldest son, right? Like when I took this call, like from Victor Miney to Dr. Sari, he was the one like, we're going to office every day. We remote. That's okay, mom. I think you'll be able to do it. You go for it. That's what he said. Like he's what, like 10 years old. You're going to talk to doctors? Oh, I'm really excited. Let me know. And he used to, like, when I was in a few X, like, he will understand my broking. Like, if a candidate gets dropped, he will ask, why, mom? A candidate didn't join now. By saying the situation, he knows the product actually. Like, I keep explaining the products to candidates to an extreme, right? Like, until they understand, like, not because that complex is the product to get into a language they understand. So that is the kind of smartness the kids have. So if you're a mom, working mom or non-working mom, like if you were, managing your kids, right? Like they're smart enough to do it, but ensure that like you have all your safety measures right from the internet restrictions, right? Like what they watch and listen to them. Like even if they watch, they will come and let you know like what they have done. So why they listen to them, watch them properly, so that they will understand like what where they are inhibiting the if they are not they are doing some kind of different activities that which is not good for the for your house or like for the society. Stop them, understand like where they are inhibiting it from, do that background check. What are they watching in the TV, like what are they watching in mobile phones? Please avoid giving mobile phones to them. They're really really vulnerable to it, and that attention span when they're watching the shorts, right? That is really, I recently heard this Korean kids are like, getting that short span attention problem because they are watching the videos in the 2x, 3x speed. And when the teacher comes and teach in the classroom, it will be like orange. For them, we will receive it in that way. So that's why we have to be very careful in giving the gadgets to kids. Of course, they're carefully equipped, but ensure that see what they're watching and what they're observing. You can see from their activities, especially the small kids. You'll be able to understand. They will come to us only. So we have to simply listen to them. That's it.
So, great advice. Thank you so much. So, we have talked about kids and how smart they are. Similarly, there is a new kid in a house called AI, right?
Right.
So, everyone is talking about AI. We have so many LL model these days now. So, we were just talking about ChatGPT, Gemini. Now, there are multiple similar in China. There are similar many other places as well. So, what do you think about AI and how it's going to impact in recruitment overall? And how to become used to AI as well?
Okay. There is no replacement for human resource to AI resource. So, it's a kind of a, new change that we have to get used to. That we have to embrace the change. Start upskilling ourselves, like how to use it wisely in our. We as a recruiter, though directly or indirectly, we get into a lot of transactional jobs, right? Though we say we're transforming into a strategy role, everyone can't play a strategy role. There are initially they wanted to do transaction roles. So I think AI is gonna help us a lot over there. Gonna play a lot of area towards it helping us. And of course, when it comes to the searching techniques and all, AI is already playing a part in if you take a lot of tools. So I think there is never a replacement for human resource to AI resource. So we have to embrace it and we have to work along with it. That's really simple. So we have to find right platforms to understand how efficiently we can apply this day to day. Can it be a data driven decision? It can be a presentation to your leaders, or it can be preparing for a podcast, or it can you're going to deliver some speech in a public forum, right? That is kind of a change that we are transforming. So we have to embrace and welcome. That's
Agree. For me also, like preparing for your introduction, preparing for your questions, I use ChatGPT or Gemini,
right.
right?
Yeah.
So definitely we have to embrace AI
Training,
and try to
training
use.
them, it's really important. Training your chat GPT is really important.
Yes,
You have
yes,
to
yes.
watch more videos of Dave Briss on LinkedIn. So he lets you know about how you can manage your project using AI. And there is a lot more things like using AI, like how you can train your chat GPT so that get more inputs of even if you wanted to do a cost analysis to submit to your leaders, or you wanted to take a data driven decision using the data that you have. These are all the things, these are the areas that it's gonna help us really. And I'm started, it's already almost I've got trained my chat GPT, helping me as a expertise. Right. So that is really, so simply we cannot use it as a, you give a question, you get an answer, right? You have to train it well. So you have to use it wisely. So you have to go through workshops for it. So you use it wisely. So follow Dick Britt in LinkedIn. He has got a good amount of videos in LinkedIn.
Okay, okay, okay. So what is the one daily task you train your ChatGPT for?
So I always tell them that no, you're an expertise in advising me in my career. So for example, say I'm doing a WhatsApp campaign today to let's say find a list of doctors, right? To hire so and so surgeons, right? So what I do is I make my chat GPT as a veteran recruiter of the specialization, right? And also think in a way I'm a so and so surgeon looking for opportunities. So I give my input to role play my ChatGPT in this way. So it will be on the either way, right? So the recruiter need is also output also will be there in your output of ChatGPT, and also in the user view, right? When a surgeon is looking exploring an opportunity, what kind of an attention span you would have for that particular WhatsApp campaign, right? That's what I mentioned in the ChatGPT. So you get a proper output, and I tweak it around it, and then I use it for my purpose. So
So
you have to
probably
don't play with ChatGPT. That's really important. And the prompts are really important.
so for me, my ChatGPT will be a I'm recruited community builder because most of my details for any kind of content I use ChatGPT related to because along with my office work I don't get time much. So whenever I get time I use for the community building purpose only. So my ChatGPT will be fully trained on that particular domain
Right,
very
right.
soon.
Yeah. So I changed my roles. whenever the situation comes, I change my role. But actually, there's a lot more coming. We should try going for workshops. We'll have a lot more tools to utilize.
Okay, sure. Probably this is
I
another
use
topic we can.
Pilot for Microsoft 365. That will also actually help you a lot in bringing down your presentation well.
Yes, yes, yes. See, so we are almost on the time. So now, two last question before we wind up our call. So, if you could give one piece of career advice to any recruiter listening today, like whenever our podcast will get released, what would it be?
Okay. So as I told earlier, don't think in a way only to fill the positions, whatever the targets that you have given. Think in a business perspective, have the business understanding well, and build that bridge, right? That's what like we have to do. That's a long-term solution. And always like try building the relationship with the candidates as well as the stakeholders. That will actually make you successful. And building numbers will definitely is not a future. Understanding business wisely, it's going to be the future. So that's the one big advice. And that thinking in a business perspective, obviously, like moves us from a transactional role to a strategy. And please don't fear for change.
I think many people don't get feared, but they get so much comfortable that they don't want to change.
Right.
So I would also add that along with fear, don't get comfortable in one particular place
Right.
or in particular role, right? It will stop your growth for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So last question, Vanity. So what do you like about I'm a Recruiter community and what we are doing?
So it's a very active community. Like being part of this, like I think maybe 8 months down the line. And recently, a couple of months back, like I've been part of the catch up there in Chennai. So it's a very active and it is a forum like which is discussing a common reality of recruitment problems. That is the one thing like which I like more like not being TEDx kind of thing. You guys discuss about more about the ground reality, what really the problem is, like what kind of challenge, day in day out, like the recruitment industry is facing, the recruiter is facing, how a person is transforming from from their roots to a bigger success. Those are all the things which I actually like about I'm Recruiter, and I still follow I'm Recruiter and LinkedIn, and I've seen a couple of podcasts and celebrating someone on their success is it's something like making them more successful in their upcoming projects and future. So that's the one thing like which I like the most when you approach like I was excited about like giving this podcast. Yeah.
Yes. See, so with this, Vanity,
Yeah. So one
thank
last
you
thing
for
that, I wanted to tell like whomever, like, women like who is trying to get into this career and transforming at the stage of transforming, right? So, failure was like you will meet a lot of failures. Failure is nothing but, it's a detour. It's not a dead end. So that's the thing I wanted to, register with from one of the podcasts, which I heard. And I thought like this would be the, which I processed inside, right? Especially in recruitment, we see a lot of dropouts, Monday blues, right? And especially like, in the good times, even a day before New Year, like, 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you'll get a message that like, I'm not interested in this opportunity or a drop, right? That's how I know about the pain of the recruiter, like going through, like sometimes we take it personally. We have done so much of efforts, right? So I just wanted to tell like, it's not a dead end, like just a tea talk. That's the thing I wanted to register it here. And thank you so much for the opportunity, Rafael.
what kind of challenges you have faced, how you have built your relation with your stakeholders, right? Plus, after you joining your new organization as well, you still were helping your own candidates to refer to the old company, to your own friends as well, right? So along with that, you also shared about work-life balance, how you are balancing along with your business schedule, your kids, right? And you also talked about personal health, right? Personal well-being, which is definitely important because post-COVID, I think lots of people are going through lots of some kind of pressure, and because of that, they are not focusing on their well-being. Right, everyone is running after success, but without knowing the proper goal that hey, health can be also a successful thing for them. Right, it shouldn't be only like the materialistic stuff. Right, but thanks to you for highlighting those things and also sharing your knowledge, your experience to our fellow recruiters, fellow diverse or female recruiters who want to grow in their career as well. Right, if you can do it, they can also do it, right? Again, like just a matter of time, plus to keep themselves updated what other people are doing, like learning from other people's experience. So overall, thank you so much, Vanati. It was lovely talking to you, and looking forward to know more about how you hire doctors in
Right.
some of our upcoming session. We'll love to invite. hear from you what are the different things you are doing. But once again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Prafula. It was great interacting with you and looking forward for more sessions and, of course, more podcasts from you. I'm Recruiter and catch up in Chennai. Looking forward. Thank you.